For this video, I'm going to be covering the moist cooking methods. In the last lessons, we've been talking about dry cooking methods. The purpose of dry methods is to develop flavor and provide browning. Moist cooking methods are going to utilize water or a water-based liquid. So we're talking about like chicken stock or beef stock, broth or wine or beer, tomato juice, other fruit juices. The purpose of the moist cooking is to soften tough food items or hard food items, to tenderize tough cuts of meat, and to enhance the natural flavor of food items. By cooking with moist cooking methods, you have the benefit of being healthier because you're not doing added fats or oils. For most of the products that I do moist cooking with, I do add in some fat. If I'm going to do vegetables, I typically add some butter or some bacon grease or things to add flavor, but I can kind of control the amount of added fat or oil. This video is part one, and I'm going to cover the science of the moist cooking, and then we're going to talk about poaching and the different types of poaching. There will be a second video to cover the rest of the methods. So moist cooking does not use any oils. And if you remember from the last couple of lessons, one of the big differences between the moist and dry cooking, it's all about temperature. So dry cooking uses air or oil, and those mediums of cooking, those will get very hot. And that's going to provide a lot of different results than the moist cooking. So moist cooking, we are talking about temperatures of about 160 up to 212. And 212, that's pretty much boiling. That's the hottest these liquids are going to get. But this is not hot enough to create a browning effect. So when we talk about moist cooking, we are talking about boiling, simmering, poaching, shallow poaching, blanching, and steaming. So I'm going to start here with poaching. So poaching is a moist heat method, is the lowest of all of the temperature of moist cooking methods. Generally, we're looking at water about 160 to 180. So the water is steaming. It has small bubbles, little tiny bubbles down there in the water, but it does not have a bunch of bubbles. So this is only suitable for delicate food items. Eggs are your most commonly seen poached item, but poultry like chicken, chicken breast, generally not chicken thighs, which are a little tougher, so you want a tender, fish, and then fruit. Fruit is often poached. So here is a quick little video on how to poach eggs.
But with these easy steps, you'll get the hang of it in no time. Use a non-stick skillet and bring about 2 inches of water to a boil. Next, add a little vinegar. This keeps the whites from spreading too thin. It also adds a little seasoning. Then reduce to a simmer. Get some small bowls ready for your eggs. This way, the eggs will keep their shape and you'll be able to cook them all at the same time. Crack them carefully and check for bits of shell. Now slip the eggs into the water clockwise like this. That's so you know which ones are done first. Cover, turn off the heat. The key to poaching is a gentle heat, which will give your eggs a firm white and a loose yolk. And in just 4 minutes, you'll have delicious, delicate poached eggs. All that's left to do is scoop it out, drain, and enjoy.
So in that video, you saw some eggs being poached. When you are poaching, you are fully submerging the food product into the liquid, into the water bath. Shallow poaching, on the other hand, the couch is not big enough for me and the big dog. Shallow poaching, on the other hand, this involves a steam and a liquid bath. So your food is only going to be partially submerged down into your poaching liquid, and then steam is going to cook it the rest of the way. You might flip it over. You might even actually brown your food item and then incorporate your liquid and then do a partial steaming, which would kind of develop flavor and tenderness. So typically in shallow poaching, some form of acid, so either wine or lemon juice, even a vinegar, perhaps might be added into the liquid. Steam is going to cook the food. This is definitely going to make things tender, but you want to use foods that are already tender. So fish or meat is the most common for that. And you can even, like the picture shows, this is a stuffing that has a thin piece of meat wrapped and then tied around it. The liquid that this is cooked in, this is called a cuisson, and this is a poaching liquid that usually is also used as a sauce base. So I have a quick little video here that will show you shallow poaching in this particular technique.
Shallow poaching is an a la minute technique. Foods are cooked in a combination of steam and simmering liquid to create flavorful, tender, and exceptionally moist dishes. The cooking liquid is always used as a part of an accompanying sauce. To illustrate the principles of shallow poaching, we'll prepare poached sole. Trim the fish and portion it into 4-ounce pieces. Season it with salt and pepper. Lightly butter a sautoir to add flavor and to help keep the food from sticking. Add minced shallots, place the fish in the pan, and add enough wine and fumet to submerge 1/2 of the fish. The liquid adds flavor to the fish, and the resulting cooking liquid, or cuisson, is the basis for a sauce that will accompany the fish. Prepare a circle of parchment paper and cover the fish. On the stovetop, bring the liquid just barely to a simmer and cook with the pot lid on. Continue to gently simmer until the fish is done. When finished, the fish should be evenly moist, opaque, and light in color. Check for doneness either visually or by touch. Remove the fish, moisten with the cuisson, and keep it warm. Immediately return the sautoir to the direct heat and reduce the cuisson to concentrate the fish flavor. Add heavy cream as needed for a rich mouthfeel. Reduce this to a good sauce-like consistency and a delicious flavor.
So as you can see, in both poaching and shallow poaching, you don't have any brownness. You do have a tender product, and you can add sauces to add flavor. And so the flavor is going to be added in with the liquid, or it's going to be added in with the sauce at the end. You could see that he had some cream and fumet, which is fish stock. You could also use beef or chicken stock there if you didn't have the fish sauce or want the fish flavor. There's a lot of different options that you have there. Some herbs, the butter, the shallots, these things all added flavors. You have ways to develop flavor outside of some of the other things that we've talked about. So when we're talking about foods for poaching, these are going to be already tender food items. Eggs are your most common, chicken breasts, or a nice white fish or salmon even. Poaching, the food is all of the way in the liquid. Shallow poaching, the food is only partially submerged in the liquid. And he made sole, which is a white fish. You also could do this with catfish or tilapia or even cod.